boogeyman. I'm the
He can't be the boogeyman if I'm chasing him.
I'm the dog of the division. I'm the boogeyman.
You can't be the boogeyman if I'm chasing you.
Everyone know I'm that guy.
You're not that guy.
I'm that guy.
Numbers don't lie, and I'm the number.
I'm that guy. You not the number guy.
Numbers don't lie.
You signed for 3.5 fight. I've been getting that.
Everybody got ESPN. You can't do that.
What?
Everybody got ESPN.
It don't matter.
Terrence, who's a better basketball player?
Me. Anything about him is
shit up. Don't start that shit up. You can ask Bron who the
right now. I don't know if y'all saw this mouthpiece that I had made. This mouthpiece says "Man Down." And when we started this journey for this fight, I knew something special was gonna happen tonight. Obviously, the result wasn't the result that we wanted, but this is how serious I was about this fight. I don't think Errol Spence has ever been in the ring with anyone as serious as I am and was about this fight. I'm prepared to retire. I was prepared to announce my retirement tonight. Win, lose, or draw, even if it was a draw, we had they were telling us we were gonna have to do it again. I was not gonna do it again. I'm announcing my retirement right now. I think so. I think, at least that was what we were going for. We were going for, the best night of our lives. And I still feel fantastic. I felt fantastic the whole way. And,
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Rematch.
All right, let's get straight into it, man. So, Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford. Let's talk about it. A lot of people think that Terence Crawford is scaring Errol Spence or something, or he's putting fear in him or something like that. Man, look, the man don't want to take the fight because the man, Terence Crawford, is bad business-wise. So he's saying, okay, this is a big fight between me and you. You know what I'm saying? I ain't even going to say he don't want to take the fight. I'm sure he'll take the fight. But he's pretty much laying out, on the front end, look, if this fight go down, you going to have to take a little bit less money because with you're not making as much money as me. That's basically how it's going. Now, let me note this. A lot of people coming to Terence Crawford defense now saying Errol Spence trying to do whatever he can to get out the fight, this and that. No. Okay? No. He's not trying to get out of the fight. Clearly, he's not trying to get out of the fight. The man is telling him, look, if we fight, it's going to be a big fight. But I want the larger portion of the money because you're not making as much money as I am. And it's simple. Now, I'm going to walk through all the different comparisons between Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. Let's start with the biggest one, pay-per-view. The stuff that people don't like to look at when they making this comparison. It's people ask, how is Errol Spence doing the heavy lifting? But they not looking at the pay-per-view. They not looking at no pay-per-view. Now, let's look at the pay-per-view, man. Pay-per-view numbers for Errol Spence. He did over 700,000 buys in 2 fights. Terence Crawford, less than 350 K buys in 3 fights. So 3 fights versus 2, Errol Spence did way more. Come on now. Now, we already know the man is he's suing his promoter Bob Arum. Bob Arum has stated that he lost tons of money on this guy. And let me give you a quick example of how he lost money on Terence Crawford. So, as we know, Terence Crawford versus Sean Porter, the fight went down. Both fighters got paid. I think Terence made $6 million. Sean made $4 million. That's $10 million split between the two. Now let's look at it. This what a split comes in. This man made $6 million. Sean made $4 million. Okay, cool. Now the pay-per-view generated less than 150K buys. Less than 150. Really? Now it was reports that it was 190K, and I saw reports that it was less than 150K. So it's in between that. It's still bad whichever way it go. Now we know Errol Spence did way more than that against Sean Porter. So they fighting the same people, but who's doing the better numbers? So do you really think Terence Crawford deserved half of the money if he can't even generate? Come on. The man did 60K. He did 60K buys against Victor Postol. It was like, no. He doing numbers that me and you could do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm pretty sure I could do like 60K on motherfucking pay-per-view. Like, this stuff, no, man. Like, y'all gotta stop. He not ducking this man. He just not. When it comes to financial-wise, look, Terence Crawford won't have to take less money, okay? It's a money thing. This is a business at the end of the day. Now, let's get to the second point, man. Let's get to the second point. Okay. Let's talk about resume. You really have to look at the resumes, okay, and actually know what's going on, man. And I want people to really pay attention to this part, because resumes are somewhat important in this factor. So I'm gonna look at it like this. Let's do a quick comparison. We don't gotta go through all the fighters that they fought at 147. Just 147 strictly. Let's get it. So Kell Brook, they both fought. Terence and Errol both fought Kell Brook. Now, Kell Brook got knocked out by Terence Crawford in 2020. Okay. Errol Spence knocked out Kell Brook in 2017. So it's a 3-year gap. But as everybody know, boxing is wear and tear on the body, man. When Terence Crawford finally fought Kell Brook, the man had 2 career-threatening eye injuries, okay? And he could no longer make 147, so the man was weight drained. He was weight drained. If you look at Terence Crawford, if you look at Kell Brook, he had no fights at 147 before. I mean, he didn't have no fights at 147 after he lost to Errol Spence. Now, Errol Spence fought Kell Brook when he was undefeated. Those two are not the same thing. Undefeated Kell Brook at welterweight versus a damaged goods Kell Brook that Terence Crawford fought. So it's two completely, and not to mention he was weight drained. So not the same thing. Next, Sean Porter. Now, this is the fight that kind of irritates me, because people say, oh, Terence Crawford stopped him. He outclassed Sean Porter. Okay, cool, you can say that. I mean, the dude, Sean Porter, he was freaking running into Terence Crawford punches, man. He just looked honestly, to me, he looked kind of bad at times, but whatever. I didn't watch the fight because it just like, come on. I knew Sean Porter was like, done, really. And lo and behold, he was done, because the man literally retired after the fight. The fight just made no sense to me. It came too late, pause. So Sean Porter, in the build up to the fight, was doing commentary, podcasts. He had like 4 different jobs outside of boxing during the training camp, bro. When he fought Errol Spence, this man was hungrier, and he was hungrier because it was a unification fight. He was defending a belt, and he was also trying to win a belt from Errol Spence. So you could even see his hunger and how determined he was to get over Errol Spence, get over that hill, So, and I think Errol Spence even told him after the fight, he said, you're not going to fight in pay-per-view after this. It's like, come on, because these guys, it's not pay-per-view fighters, Like, they just not. That's just a fact. That's why he calling himself the big fish, because he's the top guy when it comes to, like, you know, numbers and things like that at the division. So you saw him fight on pay-per-view again against Terence Crawford and did horrible. You know, so Terence Crawford Sean Porter not fighting on pay-per-view on his own. You see Terence Crawford numbers on his own. Terrible. So let's go to, okay, what's another fighter that they actually got before I move to the next point? Let's see. Who else did they fight in common? Well, okay, no, forget about that. Terence Crawford won a title at welterweight fighting Jeff Horn. Now that was bad, because I don't think it's anybody who at the top 10 right now who that would lose to Jeff Horn. I don't know. I don't see anybody losing to Jeff Horn that's in the top 10 right now. So, but yet no one's calling for, you know, a fight between Terence Crawford and anybody in the top 10 as much as they calling for Errol Spence. So clearly anybody will work him that's in the top 10. I mean, Jeff Horn was pretty much like the weak. Jeff Horn is the George Kambosos 147. Well, he was the 147 George Kambosos. And I think both them niggas from Australia. So, yeah. Everybody looked at this man like, okay, we finna get that belt right up out that nigga. Because he's a school teacher, man. Like, come on. he kind of got lucky, kind of, you know. So everybody looked at him as like as fool. Like, man, let me get this belt up. Let me become a champ and get this belt off this nigga. You know what I'm saying? That's how they looked at Jeff Horn, and, you know, they would look at him like they could just get a belt, a quick belt. So that's just what that was. Now let's move on to titles at 147, because this is another thing, okay? It's a kind of extension on the last point that I made. This man, Terence Crawford, he got the belt against Jeff Horn. Cool. He defended it a couple times against a few guys, you know. Some of them was okay. I mean, you look at guys like Amir Khan was pretty much done, you know. Like, not done, but he's like just over the hill. You know what I mean? Been knocked out 5 times before he fought Terence Crawford. 4 or 5 times. He got dropped by Samuel Vargas before he fought Terence Crawford. Samuel Vargas, come on now. That's ridiculous. Amir Khan was basically just a non-factor at 147. They just brought him up out of nowhere. Like, oh, fight this guy. Like, come on, really? Really? And also, Amir Khan, if you watch that fight, Amir Khan quit, okay? They even argued about it in a post-fight press conference. Amir Khan quit. Like, get the hell out of here. He quit. So, in Amir Khan, what was he gonna do? Just start? He was gonna beat Terence Crawford and then come back and then just start wreaking havoc on the division? No, he's a non-factor. Fighting fucking Samuel Vargas and getting dropped, and fighting, you know, Philo Greco and all, whoever he fought. I mean, he was a non-factor. So that fight made no sense at all anyway. That's why I didn't tune into that. We already went up with Kell Brook with damaged goods, and really is not a legit win because Kell Brook was really weight drained, honestly. Then he got, you know, Kavalauskas. Kavalauskas gave him an entertaining fight, a good fight. He dropped Terence Crawford in the 3rd round. So I imagine what Errol Spence will do to this dude. No offense, and like no disrespect, but come on. If Errol Spence get you on the ground, you probably, man, look, all right, that's Kavalauskas. I don't want to see what Errol Spence gonna do to this dude, okay? So Kavalauskas, that was a good knockout for him. And then he got Benavidez. So, I mean, it's cool. But titles, out of all of that, it just won. He won 1 title against the weakest guy he fought at 147. By far. Now, Errol Spence. This man is a unified champ at 147. And he going for his 3rd belt against Dennis Ugas. So what, you tell me, which one is better? Unified champ versus guy who won the belt from the weakest fighter that he fought at the division. Come on, man. Like, y'all not being real with yourselves. This man, Errol Spence, is the unified champ going to get another belt. He finna have 3 belts if he win against Yordenis Ugas. 3. He going out to straight champions. Terence Crawford fighting guys that's like, with like iffy careers. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like Kell Brook, what threat was really Kell Brook at that point? Was Kell Brook really a threat to Terence Crawford? Was Amir Khan really a threat to Terence Crawford? You know, if you don't really analyze it or look into it, then yeah. I mean, these not the guys when they was like early in their career. It would have been a much better fight if they would have fought early in their career. These guys was all beat up and bruised and, you know, all type of stuff when Terence Crawford fought him. So Amir Khan, Kell Brook, Benavidez had one leg. The people that he fought at 147 is very, very iffy. But he knocked them all out. Okay? And that's what got the fans saying that Terence Crawford is, you know, the boogeyman or he's some kind of, you know, like monster. I mean, he's great. He's a great fighter, but y'all got to stop with the comparisons, man, because this dude, he going to get knocked the fuck out. He fucking around get stopped against Errol Spence, honestly. He really is. But let me know what y'all think, man. That's all I want to say. Clearly, when it comes to comparisons, the man Errol Spence is clearly leading the way. You know, he clearly got he checked all the boxes. When it comes to pay-per-view, when it comes to being a draw, when it comes to better fighters fought at 147, when it comes to being a champion, he the unified champion. He's sitting at the top of the division. Look at the pay-per-view numbers between any other fighter at that division. He leading it. So what he said really goes, man, because he the one that's making the fight big. Clearly it's not Terence Crawford. If he, you know, doing them weak-ass numbers he doing, and it's not a diss to Terence Crawford. It's just he not marketable. He not a draw in boxing. Now, you can blame Bob. You can blame whoever you want, but look, he lost Bob a lot of money, whether you like it or not. So, because he can't sell. The man can't sell, but Errol Spence can. So he's saying, give me more money. So this fight is not going to happen unless Terence Crawford is willing to take a pay cut. Or not a pay cut, but just, you know, if he's willing to take a less split. It's not going to happen. I mean, sorry. And I wouldn't be mad if Brad didn't take the fight anyway. If Terence Crawford not willing to step down and take a little bit of less money, like Jermell Charlo was telling him to do, then I wouldn't be mad if the fight didn't happen. Because I'm not trying to just fight because these fans just want to see a fight. Like, no, I'm not doing that. Like, I got my career and I got my future. I got my kids and things on the, like, riding on this stuff. Like, I want to make money, you know. I don't care about your entertainment if it's going to, you know, mess with my income, you know. So I'm not finna, we trying to make good business moves out here, man. But that's all I got for now, man. That's all I got, man. Let me know what y'all think, man. I'm out.
Did you get what you was looking for? Yeah.